What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Welcome to Wrestle-MaGiC Hot Topic. I've been waiting so long to say that again, so in case you guys probably haven't realized or missed us too much, we have not been here for a couple weeks. The London shows that were recorded, but I didn't upload them because A, I forgot, and B, they were boring anyways. So that, and last week we were recording other stuff, which we are recording in advance for later on, but we're not going to tell you about any of that. I have at least a couple lists going. Brad's still trying to get our results up so we can record our recap, which we're recording after this. So if you don't know what the Hot Topic show is, basically we go through, we pick 3 topics, 1, 2, and 3. We will talk about them, debate them for a minute, and then we will move on to each one. If you want to skip to either any of these topics in any of these 3 topics, you can click the time cards below. We have the Mae Young Classic commentary team and who it should be.
We are in agreement about that.
Well, for the most part.
For the most part.
We have the discussion on underutilized talents and how to push them into a mid-card or main event scene.
Well, 2 specific ones anyway.
2 specific ones, but we each picked one and we got one. And the possibility of Adam Cole in NXT. If you want to skip if you want to skip to any of those discussions, hit the time cards below in the description. But if you don't want to skip to any of them, stay tuned for us talking about the Mae Young Classic. So now, WWE has just recently announced that the women's tournament is, well, they've confirmed the women's tournament, and now they are confirming the name for it, the Mae Young Classic.
Here's the funny thing about this. When I first heard, like, women's tournament, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. And then the more I started watching some women's wrestling matches, particularly the triple threaded takeover this week.
Oh, yeah.
After that, I'm like, oh no, yeah, this is going to be good.
Yes.
This is going to be fun.
Especially if you look at the Cruiserweight Classic and the UK tournaments that they've been having. The next one after this has to be a tag team tournament.
Ooh. I like that.
Bringing prominence back to tag team wrestling, I would love that. But we're not talking about any of those other tournaments or what we're expecting to see yet.
But both of those shows don't know how to handle their tag team divisions, so that might be...
Well, when remember, Triple H is primarily running these.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, if every single tournament that's been going on so far has been well received, and Triple H is in charge of all of them, then we weren't too far off when we said that a Triple H run WWE is a smarky WWE. Pretty
much. But the Mae Young Classic, when the brackets come out for this, you and I are both making predictions, even though both of us probably haven't heard of half the people we are going to be.
When the brackets are announced, we will wait a week, 2 weeks to put up our predictions and just watch.
We'll do our research and look them up.
Yeah.
But
watch at least like 3 matches.
Vince, if you for some reason watch this like low budget YouTube video, please, for the love of God, try. I gotta move this way so that way the Mae Young Classic does not like cover my face. Please, for the love of God, get Sexy Star from Lucha Underground. You have no idea how much of a favorite she is, and bring back Evilise too for good measure. I'm moving this down now. The magic of editing finally revealed, because I want to be able to move my head.
The secrets of pro wrestling podcasts finally revealed.
She's a stunt granny.
There was a stunt granny this week.
Yes, there was, but we're not talking about that. Watch our Backlash / NXT TakeOver Chicago review. But we are bringing up the Mae Young Classic today for a main reason. Brad sent me a message the other day, and he was like, Michael, I have an honest question. I'm like, yes, Bradley. who's going to be the commentary team for this tournament?
I mean, I had an idea of one person I wanted on it.
And I'm like, oh my god, you're right. Who is it going to be? And, okay, you and I are both 100% in agreement on this. Renee Young has to be on that commentary team.
Dear God, Renee Young.
She's
great at her job, and I have a feeling that she would just kill on a commentary team, particularly for women's matches.
Have you seen her work on NXT?
No. I wasn't aware that she did work on NXT.
Back in the early days of NXT, when I first started watching, watch the first episode before TakeOver NXT Arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that, and it was a 3-person commentary team. It was Tom Phillips, Jason Albert, aka Lord Tenzai, aka Albert, aka
the guy who trains everybody backstage now.
Yes. And Renee Young. And sometimes it would switch. Somebody would switch for Byron Saxton. Somebody would switch for Alex Riley. But Renee Young was there for a good portion of the time, and she was very enjoyable to have on commentary. It was nice having that extra female voice, and you're going to have that for the Mae Young Classic. I'm going to be messing around with my hair a lot this episode. So we are both in agreement on that. Now where we might disagree is who's going to be co-calling it with her. We both assumed that maybe JR's dates would be filled using that.
Yeah, I think JR could be good there.
However, I want you to look at the past 2 tournaments that the WWE has put on, and tell me what is consistent. Cruiserweight Classic commentary team, it was Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
The UK Championship was Michael Cole and Nigel McGuinness. What do those 2 have in common?
I'm trying to think. One of them has something to do with NXT.
No.
Or both of them do.
No. One of them is an experienced commentator, and one of them is an experienced commentator. That role would be filled by Renee Young in this case, because and the other one is a person of wrestling background who fits into that category. Daniel Bryan is was technically a cruiserweight.
That's true.
Nigel McGuinness wrestled a lot in the British wrestling scene, and he knows a lot of the guys who are wrestling in that tournament. So we're looking at
a 2-woman commentary team.
So
is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, it would make the most sense to me that there would be a 2-woman commentary team, and I could think it's either Renee and Lita, or Renee and Trish Stratus. I could see both of those. Either that, or get one of the modern women, get like Charlotte, or somebody who's like very experienced with it. Because I can honestly see a 2-woman commentary team, because it would be one commentary person from commentary background, another one from wrestling background, and that builds a great dynamic. Like how Mauro
just being 2 people talking about wrestling rather than 2 people doing a job.
Like, take a look at the Wrestle Kingdom commentary team that was Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino.
They were the guys who couldn't hold it together during that one tag match.
Yes, the Guerrillas of Destiny tag match.
The tag match that no one can watch with a straight face.
Yes. But with that, there was Steve Corino was a former wrestler, and he's a wrestling trainer and stuff. Kevin Kelly came from commentary, like background. If you look at JR and Jim Ross, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler.
Yes, the legendary 1-man commentary team where it's just Jim Ross talking to himself and the
Jim
audience.
Ross, well, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler.
I mean, he could do it, but
Yeah, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Jim Ross was the color commentator background. Jerry Lawler was of wrestling descent. Same for Michael Cole and Corey Graves right now, with Byron Saxton being that middleman who's done both. JBL and Tom Phillips. Right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, tangent. They do fire JBL. Who replaces him?
When David Otunga comes back, Booker T.
Yeah, good point. Okay.
Either that or they fizzle Morrow back in, but then you have two color commentator guys, and then, well, Byron Saxton would technically be the wrestling aspect.
That's true. Yeah. All right.
Even though his finisher was absolutely god awful.
Saxton.
But most commentary teams are a combination of wrestler with experience and color commentator, broadcaster, like good thing. My favorite commentary team of all time, I do not care who you are, my favorite commentary team of all time was Taz and Michael Cole. When they were commentating on SmackDown. Taz was particularly my favorite.
Do you know why that was?
Why that was? Well,
Paul Heyman was behind the scenes writing everything. Was behind the scenes of SmackDown.
True.
When he wasn't on TV, he was taking care of everything on SmackDown. Sometimes, because SmackDown was still pre-taped then, sometimes he would even have Michael Cole and Taz record some lines to later edit into the show.
Right.
Which Michael Cole and Taz had problems with. He's also the reason why the two of them commentated over Goldberg Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was originally Vince McMahon wanted the Raw commentary team to talk about it, but Paul Heyman was like, no, Taz and Michael Cole have been telling this story for the past couple of months, and they are currently kicking your commentary team's butt. He actually said that to Vince McMahon because he's Paul Heyman and he does what he wants.
Yes.
At first, Vince McMahon was like furious with him, but then he was like, you know what, fine, but when it fails, you're fired. Didn't fail.
So, my case would be Renee Young with a former women's wrestler. What if it was Renee Young and Alundra Blaze? The recent Hall of Fame inductee that was like a couple of years ago. The one who tossed her belt into the trash can.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how good she would be on commentary.
Renee Young, Beth Phoenix.
Ooh! Ooh!
Hall of Famer, women's wrestler.
See, the thing is, like, I don't even know, man. There's so many different choices that I think would be good. We'll see what happens with this.
I mean, for the purpose of this video, I will still argue Renee Young, Jim Ross, but...
Well, yeah, of course. Of course.
But
that would be a great
I'm just giving
team.
you some things.
But that's just my point, is
Yeah.
I feel like Dream Team, I want Renee Young and Jim Ross just like you do.
Yeah.
But however, with the...
What you think Triple H is going to go for.
What I think is probably going to be gone for is the color commentator, wrestling experience person.
Say what you want about Triple H, but recently he's making some great
And
decisions.
typically, the broadcaster is the play-by-play, and the wrestling experience one is color. Reason for that probably is the broadcaster is supposed to know the names of different moves and like to notice these kind of things in sequences, whereas the other one can provide insight as to why what the wrestler is currently doing is good or bad.
Or why it hurts.
Or why it hurts.
Which is why I'm surprised none of the commentary teams who talked about why Alexa Bliss's DDT is actually effective. You were literally just driving the person's head into a mat. How would it not hurt?
Alright, so that is both of our picks for the Mae Young Classic commentary team.
Both of our picks, you have like 5.
Well, no. Well, your main pick is Renee Young and Jim Ross. My main one is Renee Young has to be there, but it has to. I feel like it's gonna be somebody with wrestling background and descent and stuff. So from that, we are moving on to the underutilized talent and how they can get a push because of the recent Jinder Mahal epidemic at the moment.
Epidemic.
I want to call it that. Phenomena. That's it. The recent Jinder Mahal phenomena.
The phenomenon doesn't usually mean just phenomenal for those of you who are like freaking out because we call it an epidemic and the phenomenon literally just means something that really can't be explained, an event. Although I don't even think if that's correct because I can't explain it.
Do you think the WWE isn't something that you? Do you ever think the WWE isn't something that you can scientifically explain? You know what? Not going there.
Yes, that'll get us more views. Stealing other YouTubers' content. Fantastic.
Well, I was about to credit him if he didn't shut up. Brian's in his review of the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania mystery. That line had me dying. He's a funny man. I
wonder if the writers knew that they were talking, that what they were saying when they wrote that line.
I think Vince McMahon got a chuckle out of that.
It's like, these fools, these smart fools.
The reason we have a picture of Kalisto and Luke Harper is because both of us see talent that is not utilized to the full potential and could be something great, just like Jinder Mahal so far is the WWE champion. So
whether that's great or not, that's a matter of opinion.
So we have people like Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Kurt Hawkins.
The only reason we don't have
English.
The only reason they don't have any of their pictures up here is because we couldn't think of anything to do with them.
At the moment,
yeah,
I could pair Bo Dallas up with Bray because I feel like that would be the best bet.
Yeah, if they just finally admit, like, yeah, they're brothers, sure.
Either that or
Bo Dallas is a fan.
Either that or literally for any of these male superstars, have them dressed in like all black, like tattoo wheel, kind of like the Shield, except don't say anything and fight in a way to where it's like Hitman kind of thing. Like take these guys, any of these guys, and have them fight like Kevin Owens plus Samoa Joe. That works. But he has the picture of Luke Harper. Let me just hang on. I want to try something here.
My internet's pooping out.
All right, so you have the picture of Luke Harper next to you. I have the picture of Kalisto next to me because I have an idea for how Kalisto would get a sort of push, and you have an idea for Luke Harper. I will allow you.
I may have an idea.
You might have an idea. Do you want to go first, or would you let me go first?
I'll let you go first, so I can think a little bit more about Luke Harper.
Okay, so basic idea for Kalisto comes from the fact that it kind of stems from two things. One, I think one of the stories told in the game that we are going to be playing very soon, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, the road to WrestleMania for Rey Mysterio was told in such a great way. So that's the first premise. The second premise ties in with that is that there has never really been, from what I've seen, a heel masked character. At leust in WWE, from what I've seen. I cannot remember the last time there's been a heel masked character. Not face paint like Doink or Goldust or anything, because that's easy.
CM Punk.
Well, I'm talking about like mask like Luchador kind, not the mask to hide his face of like baldness. I cannot think of
Kane.
Yeah, but
I mean, not Luchador, but oh my gosh, Kane trying to fight Luchador.
I mean, he was fast back in the day.
But you know, you said masked. Kane had mask.
Yeah, but
Kane was heel.
Basically, anybody of Rey Mysterio's stature, anything that fits kind of like what Rey Mysterio is, I have never seen a heel of.
And you could easily do a heel version of that. I mean,
Yes, it's very easy to do.
it's like, you could just play up the whole I hide my face not as a matter of honor, as a matter of cowardice.
Well, no, not necessarily. You want to. So, for Kalisto, I want to make him a heel character that is believable. So, how would you necessarily do that?
He cuts corners because he's small in a land of huge people.
That is a good case.
Basically,
Here's probably what I would do for Kalisto. And by the way, there's many other people who could fit into this category of underutilized talent. We just picked these two because we figured that we probably have a good idea for what they could do. So for Kalisto, a possible idea for him could be turning heel, and so if he turns heel, he needs a mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Because his promo that he tried to cut on the spot during the draft was literally lucha things. That's where that came from. So he would need some sort of mouthpiece. I'm not suggesting Paul Heyman, even though I would love seeing that.
Do you know who's really good at being a mid-card manager though? Right now,
Titus O'Neil, which is what I was going to say. So this is what, given his current situation.
So I'm just helping you here.
Thank you. Current situation right now. He's in this kind of mini feud with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil have the main problem. So let's book this and say that Titus O'Neil is next week is trying to convince Kalisto still to join Titus Brand, and every time Kalisto says no, and he'll fight Apollo Crews, and they'll have a match. Last time when Apollo Crews lost, he was lost out of confusion. The next time, Apollo Crews is going to lose again in an even quicker manner to Kalisto. But the aggression from Titus O'Neil shows, and he will hit him with a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Say that. And they'll be hitting each other multiple times. They'll be tagging each other backstage, whatever. All from Titus O'Neil's bidding. And then Titus O'Neil, 1 week on Raw, comes to, gets in the ring, gets on the mic and says, Kalisto, I have a challenge for you. I'm going to challenge you Apollo Crews versus Kalisto in a no disqualification, best 2 out of 3 match. Because you get lucky for 1 roll-up win, but in a real fighting contest, you could not beat Titus Brand, Apollo Crews. So, Apollo Crews versus Kalisto, 2 out of 3, no disqualification match. If you win, we'll leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
If we win, you are officially part of Titus Brand. So the match happens at Extreme Rules, and Kalisto gets a quick win first, but then Apollo beats him 2 straight afterward. Apollo Crews wins. Kalisto now has to join Titus Brand. And the next night on Raw, Titus O'Neil says, okay, as Titus Brand, we're going to try to get us the tag team goal. You two are going to be the faces. We need you guys to get the tag team title. So I got you a match to see how you team together against Heath Slater and Rhino. So they team together, and Apollo Crews starts it off, but Kalisto is very reluctant to tag in, and anytime Apollo Crews reaches for the tag, he doesn't do it. He just stands off to the side.
My other tag team name, just The Brand.
The Brand. I like it.
They're gonna have a triple threat with the Revival and the Club. the triple threat, the tag team match.
So Titus O'Neil is grabs the mic and says, hey, if you do not abide by the Titus Brand rules and you do not listen to what we say, you will be fired from WWE. No SmackDown, no NXT, just WWE. You are gone. Tag in the match. And finally, reluctantly, he tags in and quickly beats Heath Slater and Rhino for his team. Apollo Crews, Kalisto, and Titus Brand celebrating, with Apollo Crews giving Kalisto this kind of look. like this look on what with Titus O'Neil celebrating, he might be slightly getting replaced. So, fast forward to the tag team match. They're winning match after match in tag team matches. They finally get a shot at the Hardys at the next pay-per-view. Let's say that's Great Balls of Fire. Still an actual pay-per-view name.
When we watch that, we have to just laugh every time the pay-per-view name is mentioned.
Yeah.
And I hope we only have one of them.
You know what's really cool? Dean Ambrose tried calling Kurt Angle and he said, "Hey, Kurt, I have a great name for a pay-per-view." So,
I have to wonder if that was scripted. If that was scripted in there, then they know it's terrible.
Yes.
If it wasn't, then at least the wrestlers know it's terrible.
Yeah. AJ Styles in an interview. I
didn't watch his reaction, but I did see a picture of it, and it looked wonderful. Just yes. AJ Styles is a smart. Okay.
So they get a match for the tag team championships. Kalisto starts off this time. And he is fighting back and forth with the Hardys. He is going toe to toe with them, and pretty much outrunning them every maneuver. And he almost has title one. He's going up to the top rope for a move when Apollo Crews, jealous of seeing him take the spotlight, tags himself in, says, "Okay, I got this." Gets in the ring, runs right into a twist of fate from Matt Hardy, gets pinned. 1, 2, 3. Apollo Crews loses. After the match, Kalisto, furious, grabs a chair and starts wailing on Apollo Crews with it. And then Titus Brand goes in to stop him. I keep calling him Titus Brand. Titus O'Neil comes in to stop him, but then he gets handed the chair and starts beating up Apollo Crews as well. And then they wrap Apollo Crews' leg in the chair, and Kalisto jumps off the top, injuring his ankle, writing him off of TV for a while. Then it is announced a couple weeks later on Raw that the Intercontinental Champion is in need of a challenger. Dean Ambrose has put away The Miz multiple times, and it needs a new challenger, a fresh face. So there's going to be a 10-person battle royal. You could throw any mid-carders in there: Heath Slater, Rhino, Kurt Hawkins, Curtis Axel, etc. The match comes down to Titus O'Neil and Kalisto as the final two, where Titus O'Neil grabs a mic and says, "I helped you get this far. I helped you eliminate just so you can get this opportunity. You are in charge of bringing Titus Brand gold. I have complete faith in you. Remember who brought you this far." He goes over the top rope and out of the ring. Kalisto will fight Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam. And after some interference from Titus O'Neil, Kalisto wins with a devastating striking finisher. Not the Salida del Sol, not some high-flying, something. A striking type of finisher. Maybe, and this is just me being like me, I guess. We were talking about bringing the DDT to prominence earlier. What if the Dean Ambrose was on his knees and Kalisto grabbed his head and gave him a low DDT? Like, he's already low to the ground.
Would have less impact.
Not necessarily, because he's on his knees and it takes like more swing to have him go face first.
That's true. Maybe.
That, and he's a smaller competitor, and he can do it to bigger people that way. So after that, you could probably have him feud with Apollo Crews over the Intercontinental title. You make 2 stars in the process, but Kalisto looks like a devastating heel character at that point.
All right, for Luke Harper. All right, so because I didn't pay any attention to their match at Backlash, who won the Harper Rowan?
Harper.
Harper? Okay. Well,
but it was a really cool thing that I wanted to point out at the very end. I wish they did more with this, but Eric Rowan was watching the mask, and every time he would go by it, he would almost Hulk up.
Right.
He would get like power from the mask, which is very interesting. And did you see the video from SmackDown where he's pacing back and forth backstage, and then they photoshopped the sheet mask to smile with his teeth out?
No,
it's
but that's
terrifying.
Cool.
I'll show you it afterward.
Yeah. So I didn't think nearly enough about this, but my thinking is just to have that storyline exist, while at the same time also trying to tie it into just have the Luke Harper and Eric Rowan feud like be really good. That's all I can think of for this, is honestly just to have the feud be really good. Have Luke Harper be the just the good old down home stuff. Oh, Luke Harper's entire gimmick is that he's like from the South and all, right? Is basically
his gimmick now is a former cult follower breaking away from that spell.
Yeah, but he's got a
he changed his shirt for once, yes.
and also his theme music is like a little bit more country.
Well, they're both country.
Yeah, but
one of them has a banjo for crying out loud.
My thinking is just when when AJ's not doing anything, he just kind of helps Harper against Rowan.
And when AJ's not doing anything?
Yeah, because he's from the South too.
True.
So
Southern boy.
Yeah, it would literally just be like, it would be just a Southern boy feud with one main eventer and two mid-carders, and that main eventer elevates the two mid-carders. And then when the main eventer goes away, the mid-carders, I think Luke Harper has it in him. I don't know if Eric Rowan has it in him. But I think Luke Harper could stay where AJ Styles would put him if he were to help him out.
I have a counter argument to that. Have Luke Harper try to get Eric Rowan to be with him out of the cult kind of aspect, and he breaks through the Eric Rowan, and they become a team and hold the SmackDown tag titles for a year.
Tag team. What would be the name?
Just Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. It doesn't have to be a name.
That's true. Sorry, I went into Vince McMahon mode there. They need a name. Just hodgepodge the two of their names together.
So Y2AJ, like the Chris Jericho and AJ Styles thing?
Well, that's just because every single time Chris Jericho does it, it's clever.
Yeah. Team Chris and Kevin. Kevin and Chris. Jericho.
That's the one I remember it as.
Yeah.
That's the one I thought.
They did all three.
Oh.
So, that was just a couple ideas for these guys to get into a... But with that feud being good, how would he get into a title picture? That's my question.
Easy. Maybe not this year, but one of the years down the line, one or both of them is in Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about Money in the Bank, dude.
Yeah.
For a minute, and that's one of the things coming out now.
Rowan, I think Rowan would get because the sneak preview. But I think Rowan would get the no.
Harper would get the briefcase. Rowan ain't going anywhere near that title.
Yeah, Harper would get the briefcase, win the title. Rowan would feud with him for it, and lose. And
Either that, or Luke Harper becomes the cult leader almost, and Eric Rowan's follower.
Yeah, he could either just be a babyface, or after he's done with Eric Rowan, turn heel, become a heel champion, and then he loses it to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably, at this point, Zayn.
Yeah. And then finally, we have Adam Cole, baby. So
Adam Cole
preface
and
this.
NXT.
Preface this.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a video a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was of Adam Cole's one of his final appearances in Ring of Honor, and when Kenny Omega came on the TV,
Big pop for Kenny Omega.
big pop. I popped.
He needs to. He's going to the WWE. It's guaranteed.
Adam Cole or Kenny Omega? Okay. Yeah.
Because that was his entire like on his. You really need to listen to that Talk is Jericho podcast with him on it, because wow, is it good.
The dude is like a charisma waterfall, man.
But
when he came, so
he had said on the Talk is Jericho episode that he wanted to sorry, Adam Cole, you're immediately talking about getting you. We'll get to you. But he had said that he really liked when he would watch like during and a little bit after the invasion angle of WWE, when like ECW guys would be showing up on WWE television, and they'd be getting these huge pops from people who recognize them. He really liked that, and so he thought that he wouldn't jump at the chance to join WWE just yet. He wanted to eventually just basically make a name for himself enough in Japan and in wrestling as a whole, so that way when he shows up, he gets a pop like that.
And everybody knows who he is, like they've
Everybody
been doing
knows
on
who he is
NXT.
now.
Like they've been doing on NXT.
Yeah. That's basically what NXT is about, is basically just giving every single person who's in developmental that same reaction.
Right.
Instead of the old days when it would just be like, here's this new talent. Okay?
No, I'm talking about like when they had in the crowd one year Bobby Roode.
Right.
And when they had Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Drew.
But because it's Kenny Omega and he doesn't need NXT, imagine the pop when he shows up in a big arena somewhere.
You know what would be funny? If WrestleMania 34, who's sitting front row for the main event, Kenny Omega.
He would show up on the Raw afterward.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if he would be on Raw first. It doesn't even matter if he was like actually drafted to SmackDown. He'd show up for the Raw after WrestleMania anyway.
Yeah. But reason we're talking about Kenny Omega, he showed up on the screen at Ring of Honor, huge pop, and he said that Adam Cole's tenure in wrestling and in Bullet Club has been long, fruitful, and well spent, and it was a storied career. In every story, there has to be a hero, and there has to be a villain. When he said that, I feel it right now. I have goosebumps, like on my arm right now. I got chills. Camera pans over, and you see a brand new, like, bird type mask.
It's called Plague Doctor mask. You're familiar with plague doctors, right?
Yes, I'm fully aware of that.
That's what it is.
I just could not think of the term. It is currently midnight. Yes, it's currently midnight. But new Plague Doctor mask for Marty Scurll. And he said, Adam Cole, officially consider yourself fired from the Bullet Club. And then lights come back on, and Marty Scurll is in the ring with the Young Bucks. Young Bucks super kick the daylights out of Adam Cole, and they like gloat over him as he's on the ground. So many people assume that Adam Cole is on his way out of Ring of Honor and potentially in NXT. And he said that he has wanted to do the whole Finn Balor route. He's wanted to go to NXT, make a name for himself and establish himself there, and then go straight to the main event scene like Finn Balor before him. So, that being said, who is the person that you are most excited to see Adam Cole fight on the NXT roster? When do you think he's going to show up there? second. And third, where would his ceiling be on the main roster afterward? I want to see him show up at TakeOver Brooklyn. And that's the one that coincides with SummerSlam.
Alright.
I want to see him show up in the crowd there. I am most excited to see either Adam Cole versus Bobby Roode or Adam Cole. It's gonna sound like a weird one, but I want to say Adam Cole versus Almas, because Almas founded Los Ingobernables.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And Adam Cole was part of Bullet Club.
Right.
So that's
Be a
just
little New Japan match in there. Just
yes, basically. And
they'd work super stiff because they work together, and they probably worked together a couple times.
well, no, not necessarily.
That's true.
Los Ingobernables was founded in Mexico, and then it was brought to Japan with one of the people who La Sombra, aka Almas, took under his wing from Japan in Mexico. So those two probably never fought. I would be interested to see that. And I think his ceiling on the main roster, I could see him doing Universal title. I do not see him winning the Lineage belt, the WWE title. Although Jinder Mahal,
at this point, no one has a ceiling in WWE.
But I see his ceiling being Universal title.
When do I think? I kind of want him to show up just on the weekly show with no build-up.
See the issue with that?
No, here's what I think it would be. Is, everyone, it would be like a couple of months after he's been kicked out of Bullet Club. He hasn't shown up on Ring of Honor. He's not shown up in New Japan. He's just kind of doing small indie dates all around, all over the place. And it's been a couple of months, and people are just giving up on him going to NXT, and they're just like, oh, he's probably going to wrestle for the indies for a while and show up in, like, Impact or something. And then, one week, NXT has just started up, and then suddenly all lights go dark, and you just hear over the speakers, Adam Cole, baby! And that starts his entrance music.
Oh
Imagine that pop.
I can imagine that pop, but the only reason I think it might not happen, they ruined Austin Aries' debut with this, and they've ruined a lot of debuts from NXT TV. They ruined Shinsuke Nakamura's debut from this. Well, not his debut in real life, but his first match from this. It's because NXT is always pre-taped. So those spoilers come out and they get out there quick. So unless they do this live special,
it would have to be a live special
of NXT.
So. But I still like the idea of he doesn't show up in the crowd. They don't leak any information. Dave Meltzer has no idea. No one has any idea. And then just suddenly like, oh, hi! When did you get here?
So you know what? I could see that happening, but I would want it to be the week before Brooklyn. Either the week before or the week after. They're going to have a special live edition of NXT for the full set crowd.
To keep that
secret.
Super secret. Ultra secret.
But then they'll know something's up because NXT is never live.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I think there were talks to make NXT live.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think his ceiling is on the?
Actually,
and what matches do you think?
So what match? Him versus Bobby Roode would be great.
Which is one I agree with.
I don't think Drew's gonna stay on NXT for much longer, just because he's already been on the main roster before. So he might not even have time to work with Drew.
Drew can go to the main roster whenever he wants.
Yeah.
So he could stay in NXT as long as he wants. He's like, I will stay here until I have a match with Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Get it. Book it, Vince.
Well, I mean, it's more of a Triple H thing. You gotta bring it up to Triple H.
Book it, Hunter.
Yeah.
Sign the check, Vince.
Aleister Black.
But I don't want Adam Cole to die. You have me mistaken for a homicidal like
maniac.
psychopath. I don't want him to die. Hang on, I'm gonna go grab something for one last tiny segment on this.
To die.
Ceiling. Ceiling on
Oh, ceiling. What's the ceiling?
Biggest championship he's gonna win.
Biggest.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess he would probably go up to Universal. I could see him entering a world title feud, but I don't see him winning it.
Right. That's my
But I think
biggest
that's
gripe.
like he may do the whole before he actually won the title Jinder Mahal thing where he stole it for a few days.
Right.
I could see him doing that. But
I need to find what I was.
yeah, I think his ceiling is world title feud that he loses.
Okay, so this is a point in the show where I want to try to do once per hot topic, and this is the Facebook question of the week. So I am a part of this Facebook group called Smarking Out, where you can there's a giant wrestling community, and you can talk to people and post questions and debates and stuff like that. So I've been posting questions lately, but since I posted this question about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I posted it 22 days ago. So yeah, 3 weeks ago. And I posted this question to kind of see what kind of responses I got, and I'm just going to read what the question is and a couple of responses, and I'll ask you the same question too. Everyone can remember their first match, but what about the first match that was a favorite match? So it's kind of a tough question, but what wrestling match made you a fan? For example, my first match that I ever watched was Los Guerreros versus the World's Greatest Tag Team on SmackDown in 2003. However, the match that made me a diehard fan was Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21. So you remember the first match you watched, which was The Rock Cena, I believe. No, what was it?
I don't remember what my first one was. Technically, like the first match I ever watched
Was Mania 32?
Yeah, it was at Mania 32.
It was probably the ladder match.
The more I was thinking about it, it was either A, the ladder match, or B, Lesnar-Ambrose.
I think it might have been.
Because Lesnar-Ambrose is the one I remember the most vividly, but that's only the opening packages. Not so much the actual match.
It was probably, you probably came up either late or something like that.
Yeah, I think I was late to that anyway.
Then yeah, I think it was Ambrose and Lesnar.
I think it was Ambrose Lesnar. So not a great match.
But what match made you a fan of wrestling?
Made me a fan of
Oh
wrestling.
well, my logo is backwards.
Huh?
No, stop it. Okay. I apologize for anybody that was that OCD real quick. I'll read a couple of the other responses afterwards, but
it's a tough decision. I actually looked this up because I wanted to see if I could find a specific match to show people that has a record of being a good match to turn people into wrestling fans with. But someone had said that it isn't so much the matches, it's more so the build up to a match that'll get people into wrestling.
Well, it's one of two things. When you want to get a new person into wrestling, you will show them one of three things. You will either show them a promo segment that was either funny or heartfelt, like what I showed you.
Which one was that?
I showed you one The Rock promo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Billy Gunn one.
Yeah.
I showed you that. You could...
That's the suck.
You could show them a match that had a great video package to open it.
Mhm.
Like, say, The Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 17 had a great video package. But opened it up, you could do that. Or 3, show them one that's like brutal, violent, and has big
Show him an
moments.
ECW.
No. I showed Jared, and Jared found a point of a little bit more appreciation for wrestling when I showed him King of the Ring 1998 and Backlash 2004, which was Mankind versus The Undertaker in a cell,
Ooh, yeah.
and Mick Foley versus Randy Orton in a street fight.
Oh yeah, when Mick Foley made Randy Orton a man.
Yeah. So those kind of matches are trying to get new fans. But what match did you watch? Is that the first match that you watch is like, okay, I want to start watching this now. A lot. It's really hard to think about. So while you're thinking about it, I'm going to start reading other ones.
Because I really don't want to say Rock Cena again, because I know I watched other matches before that.
I cannot read all of these because there are quite a few replies here. But Brett, I'm not going to read last names, even though they're on Facebook. Brett says, October 17th, 1983, he saw Jimmy Snuka versus Don Morocco, which I'm pretty sure that was the cage match that they had, where Snuka jumped off the top. He said it's as good as it gets. Susan says that without a doubt it would have to be Brett versus Owen at WrestleMania 10. John said that, can't remember what it was on, main event probably, but I remember Jake getting Savage against the ropes and making the snake bite him. That moment, he said, I was a kid and I never hated someone as much as I hated that guy.
Oh, that was an accident.
Yeah,
that was an accident.
No, the snake was meant to bite, but the fact that he was latched on there was the accident.
Oh. Yeah, because you can watch back the video packages after that event and like on like the Raws afterward and stuff, and they were making it out like Jake the Snake Roberts like had intentionally done it, and all that they were showing the video footage, and you can actually see Jake Snake Roberts actually trying to take the snake off of Savage's arm, not put it further on.
John S. says that the match that made me a big-time fan was back in 1969-ish. Billy Robinson versus Nick Bockwinkel. Bobby Heenan was barred from ringside. Billy Robinson won the match and Heenan went berserk. And Thad commented on it. I was hooked when Billy Francis showed up at a TV taping under the assumed name and beat Bockwinkel. Thought the roof was kind of come off the place. Always liked Billy Robinson, though, classic wrestler right there. I have heard of them. This is like as far back in the timeline as what they for like comments as I have. Well, maybe either that or this. AWA superstar Billy Graham versus Wahoo McDaniel in an arm wrestling match that turned into a bloody brawl. I was like, OMG, these guys are going to kill each other. I was hooked right there at age 7. That is really cool. That was Thad who said that.
As for mine,
I can kind of guess yours. I would say Rock Cena.
Yeah, it might be Rock Cena.
The first one.
Yeah, the first Rock Cena. Yeah, that one was, cause like I didn't the one I didn't see any video packages for. I just it was just kind of the match, but the the first match that I watched where the video packages were like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, was Orton Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah.
Those video packages are great.
I can dig that.
Yeah, that was the first match where I saw the video packages and were like, oh, I'm actually really excited to see this match now. Applause to the editing team. They know how to tell a story better than the script writers.
My next question for anybody who's watching at home and wants to answer the question as well, what championship belt, past, present, whatever promotion, is your favorite looking design, and which one's your least favorite design? I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a lot of least favorite Divas Championship.
Well, it was awful.
I'm going to get a lot of that.
It was
But
awful.
that's going to be the question next week. But until then, this has been Wrestle-MaGiC Hot Topic. Thank you guys.
I have my answers for the next one.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Brad, do you have anything to say to our lovely viewers before we go?
No. Oh, if you're going to complain about wrestling, stop chanting "What" and CM Punk. Bye.
Alright. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this. Comment below. What was your first match what was your first favorite match? I have a lot of favorite matches myself. What was your first favorite match that made you a big wrestling fan? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, help us reach 100 subscribers by 2018. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time.